You are listening and watching to a very special podcast. I'm Catherine Donovan, and I have more on Phenomenon Serendipity's wildest and bloodiest character, Maggie Wolfe. Enjoy! Maggie and Sadie were in Maggie's bedroom. They were sitting crisscross on the floor. Maggie just sat there tense. Sadie was calm. Okay, so what did you want to talk to me about? Maggie asked. Oh, some other things. Well, you see, I had to dig a little bit deeper, but I was afraid of your reaction. Tell me something. Have you noticed anything a little weird? Weird like how? How you came into contact with those blood powers? Well, now that you mention it, I guess. Although the manifestation, I have to say, it always bugs me, and I don't know why. But they keep calling me bitch's spawn. What does that even mean? Sometimes they call me spawn of a heifer and heifer daughter something. Why are they calling me that? Maggie asked. I think this would explain everything. You know, some babies are pretty much born and then they are found in baskets. Some are found in rocket ships, just like, Superman. Oh, and here's the other part. There is so much more here than it is out in the world. And also, I want to tell you something. I tested your blood and also the blood of that family you were living with. Oh, great. What does that even mean? Maggie demanded. It means they're not your real family, Sadie said. Maggie looked shocked. What? I said they're not your family. What are you talking about? Of course they're my family. But they didn't even notice me. They didn't even love me. They only saw me as a nuisance. Maggie said, I know that. But I tested the blood. They're not even your biological parents. And I decided to analyze your blood and this that I found. As it turns out, it's positive. Positive for what? Well, hun, it's positive for manifestation. What? What are you talking about? Maggie asked. Evie could hear commotion going on. Maggie, she sounds upset. I better go see, Evie said. Suddenly, Captain Kundo stopped her. No, you gotta leave this to Maggie. Let it be. If it's private, we don't need to know. Let her be, okay? Yes, sir, Evie said reluctantly. She couldn't help but be worried for her friend. Sadie continued with more information. Your father is known as Rugaru Wolfe, and your mother, she's known as Agrona. You see, your mother was forced as some sort of prostitute for your father, who was nothing but a hustler. No, you mean, according to this, Agrona was really curious in the thoughts of blood coming to life. That meant it couldn't be lifeless. She was a scientist at the time, but then Paul Agrona, your daddy, Rugaru, my God, he was the one person that went through that experiment just for pleasure, so he can keep tormenting Paul Agrona. See, this is your mother. During the time, Rugaru was going through something painful. Blood. He was going through pains and agony. It was all part of the process to become a manifestation. Once there, his body became different, inhuman, into that horrible creature known as the manifestation. It was like looking at a monster for a grown-up. During that time of the transformation, Agrona realized she was pregnant with you. She was scared, but she insisted on having the child, and Rugaru was trying to hurt her in order for her to abort the baby. But your mother didn't even give up, and instead she managed to fake her death and also escape from the clutches of Rugaru, and she went out into hiding. Once there, your father, Rugaru, became a manifestation. The project was complete. He was the true monster, Sadie explained. Maggie shook her head. No, she gasped. No, this isn't happening, she said to herself. She clutched her head. This can't be. This can't be, she said. I'm not a freak. I'm not a freak, she said. Nobody said you were a freak, hon. But listen to me. You can use that power. There is a destiny for you. No! Maggie cried. Everyone could hear, and they turned to the door. I'm not a freak. I'm not a freak. I'm not! Maggie cried. She punched the door. The door fell over. Maggie was shocked and saw the rest of them. She began to run. Beavy stopped her. Maggie, what's the matter? Why are you so upset? I'm not even human, Beavy. I'm half human. I'm half manifestation. I'm a half monster. I find out that my father was a manifestation, and he impregnated me. My own mother. He made me. He impregnated my own mother. He impregnated me with a curse. A curse! Look at me. This blood. This stupid blood. He made me into this. He even hurt my own mother. He's the reason why I'm so alone. I'm a freak, baby. I hate myself for this. I hate it. And I never want to see a freak like me in this kind of position. She ran. She was crying. The others couldn't help but look back. Poor Maggie. It was really sad to see her torn up like this. Maggie was in the bathroom, crying. She looked at herself in the mirror, panting and panting. That night, While she was asleep, Maggie began to toss and turn in her bed. She was hugging her knees in her sleep. She gritted her teeth, she bit her bottom lip, but all she could see in her nightmares was her friends, her allies being hurt, killed for that matter because of her powers. Then she found herself morphing into a manifestation and laughing maniacally. Maggie screamed as she woke up. She was gasping for breath. She was drenched in sweat. She sighed. It was just a dream. But then Maggie couldn't take any more of thinking about it. She got out of bed, put on her shoes, and she walked out. But she carefully tiptoed, quietly, not to wake anyone. She managed to get out the door, and then she went out. She went to a grassy hill, and she sat there, looking up at the stars and the moon. Maggie felt so overwhelmed. She felt so upset. She began hugging herself as the cool breeze came upon her. Maggie began to shiver, but she fell on her side and crouched into a ball, still shivering, not noticing that someone came over, draped some sort of coat or jacket on her to help her keep warm. Maggie was stunned. She didn't even notice someone was there. When Maggie looked up, someone else was sitting below from the hill where she was. His back was turned. Sago Okita just sat there. But then he said, "You know, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. And I may be pretty much of a cruel person, a sadist for that matter. But that doesn't mean I don't have a caring heart. I'm here if you want to talk," he said. Maggie nodded. "Thanks. Guess I needed this." Then she laid down on the hill and continued to look up at the stars, but she was still wearing his jacket. Sooner, she must have stared up at the sky so long, because the next thing she knew, she opened her eyes and she saw that the sky was pink and blue and the sun was coming up. Dawn of a new day, not realizing that something unexpected might happen. Okay, that's the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Stay tuned for more on the way. I'm Captain Donovan, and I'll see you next time.